Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. I love entrepreneurs and Marines and students of jiu-jitsu and functional medicine coaches and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on this planet. And that's why I love Elijah Sacra. He's all of those things I mentioned, and the founder, executive director, and chief wellness officer at Wellness Solution Group, LLC. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission to provide personalized functional medicine wellness programs and education to wounded, ill, and injured World War II warriors and their families and their caregivers too. So Elijah, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Absolutely. Happy to be on, and super grateful for letting me come on here and tell my story.
Wonderful. Well, let's get started. Why don't you tell us what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world?
I guess the overarching, after being injured in the Marine Corps and kind of walking through that to some degree, we're really hyper-focused on our nonprofit program to really help shift VA culture to be more patient-centered and to shift Department of Defense medicine to be the same thing. And we're using kind of a functional medicine template to push that forward.
Give our audience a 60-second description of what functional medicine means.
So functional medicine, as I see it, instead of, if you look at it in terms of a tree, there's roots of the tree, and those roots include sleep hygiene, relationships, whether it be with a significant other or your neighbors or community, nutrition, mindfulness, spiritual connections, environmental toxins, pollutants, and physical activity. And so most people, if they address the roots of the tree, many major problems won't go upstream in terms of chronic preventable diseases. And it doesn't look at things in isolations, but more of a holistic map, and takes a look at what happened before you were born in your parents' lives, what happened maybe when you were a kid, and we call these antecedents, and we call things that are ongoing, that are keeping your problems going, mediators. And so we take a look at all these moving parts and really come up with a template to help move forward from someone forward together.
It's good stuff, folks. If you haven't heard of the term, look it up and get to know it. It's an important way. Not new movement. It's a flashback to an old movement of the old country doctor that took care of the whole patient. It's awesome. So Elijah, let's look back a little bit in your journey. What were you doing between the years between leaving the Marine Corps as a corporal back in '95 and then launching your company, Warrior Wellness Solutions, in 2009? What were those years like?
Yeah, so when I got out of the Marine Corps, I had cervical spine fractures that had severe numbness and tingling in both arms. I had back injury, shoulder injury, I had a head injury, and numbness in my left leg. And I looked good on paper, but I was really struggling. I worked at an accounting firm, which was my original degree, for about 9 months, and was literally feeling like I was melding to the desk and becoming part of the computer. And I had this visual of, if I stay here any longer, I'm going to become worse. So I was literally being compressed posturally and kind of eating out of a vending machine in the hallway. And my life sucked a little bit, for lack of a better description. So I had done fitness in the Marine Corps pre-injury, and I kind of went on a multi-year vendetta in search of the truth. And it went from becoming a yoga teacher to getting involved in integrative forms of exercise, going to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition for Health Coaching, and gathering 20, 30 certifications that all had pieces of truth. And then as I shifted my own template and a couple of my friends who were also Marines, I decided, hey, if you make any change in yourself, the only way to keep that is to start giving it away. And so that's kind of the onus on how we arrived at Warrior Wellness Solutions.
Love it. So Elijah, my unique definition of significance contains 4 elements. So it's doing things you love, in places you love, with people you love, and creating something of value to others. So it's doing and it's giving. But to be a giver, you need excess capacity in your life. So tell us, what are your personal practices, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What is it that you do to increase your capacity so you can take really good care of yourself and still have more to give to others?
Well, I took this course called If Your Life Was a Business, Would You Invest in It? And it was an executive coaching course with a local coach here in North Carolina. And he coached me to divide my life up into about 8 different businesses. And it wasn't business as in making money necessarily, but it was your family's a business, spirituality is a business, continuing education is a business. Surfing and jujitsu could be, recreational therapy business. So he had me come up with these 8 businesses, and then he had me run them with through a matrix, which is what they call the Boston Consulting Matrix, I think. And you basically take a look at what's feeding you, and you grow those things. You take a look at what isn't feeding you. You attempt to get rid of them or down tempo them to the nth degree. And then you have things that are growing that could feed you more if they were grown. And so what first thing I did was I had a business that I called the Administrative Vortex. And it was basically accounting and mundane paperwork. And I immediately farmed that out to an accountant, which created space. Yeah. And because I had an accounting degree, it was very hard for me to give that piece up because I knew how to do it. The second piece I did was establish morning practices that I call non-negotiables, breathing practices, meditation, some form of movement practice, and a gratitude list, and basically to set up the framework for my day. From a financial perspective, I listen to Dave Ramsey on the drive home from work a lot of times. And so I haven't gone through his program proper, but I follow most of what he talks about. And I moved myself to being debt-free and cash flowing everything because I realized that high rents and lots of bills hanging over my head create this pressure and stress. And they cause you to react and behave in a manner where you're making reactionary decisions versus grounded decisions. And so the money piece was a huge thing for me. The daily wellness non-negotiables. The other piece is what I call movement-based snacks. And just like you would put your hand in a chip bag to take the snack, I do 2 to 5 minutes of exercise every hour on the hour in between clients or whatever it is I'm doing. And I still have a reset thread throughout my day so my body doesn't get stuck. Yeah. Because I still have my previous injuries and they'll pop back up. And then from a spirituality standpoint, a lot of prayer, a lot of mindset training, different books, and a lot of different practices. I hope I answered it.
So basically you're a slacker.
Yeah, right. Oh, then there's a recreational therapy piece. I belong to a part of another nonprofit called Veterans Jiu-Jitsu, and it's veterans who are getting into jiu-jitsu more from a mental standpoint and PTSD and depression and anxiety, and it's more about camaraderie building. No one's necessarily really trying to be a champion. We're all just trying to do some light recreational therapy and not hurt each other and come back to fight another day, so to speak. And then I do some surfing and bodyboarding, but sometimes that can get sketchy with my neck injuries. If I stand up and fall, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. I love your movement. I forget how you said it, but I do the same thing. My football number was 41. It's always been my favorite number ever since. And so I set my calendar every 41, or my clock, every 41 minutes, I get up and do something, move around,
I love it.
Do some a little bit of exercise. And your idea, your notion of feeding yourself, I said the same thing in different words, is do things that make you feel good. And if something doesn't make you feel good, see if you can either change it around so that it does make you feel good, or outsource it or get rid of it, or whatever you can do. And then one last comment on that is, even just recently I came to this, I'd like your opinion of it. Recently I just came to the idea that if I'm doing something that's good for me, but it makes me feel bad, I want to stop that too. There's other things I can find that can be good for me in the thing I'm trying to fix. So maybe instead of running, maybe it's hiking, and that makes me feel better. So stop running and do more hiking. So 30 seconds on that.
So we have a saying in the Marine Corps: improvise, adapt, overcome. And I train a lot of amputees and people that don't fit into the template for strength and conditioning or exercise. And my overarching motto is, don't worry about what doesn't work. Let's exploit what does work. Don't worry about where you got the flat tire. Throw the Pirellis on there and move forward.
Yeah, right on. Very good. Okay, Elijah, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I want to tell everyone about 3 things. Why I love my infrared portable sauna, how they can save $100 when they buy one for themselves, and how their purchase will support a great big donation to WITV7. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love my Relax Sauna. I bask in its healing far infrared rays every morning. In just 20 minutes, I sweat as much as if I'd run 4 miles. But I'm not exhausted. Instead, I feel great. And I've boosted my metabolism, burned calories, sweated away toxins, and some body fat too. What a relaxing and healthy way to start a day. A study in Finland found people who regularly use saunas live longer and have fewer fatal heart problems. So get the benefits of a sauna in your home for your family too. It's surprisingly affordable, it's portable, and it fits nearly anywhere. Go to happyliving.com and select Partners in Happy to get $100 off any purchase of $1,000 or more. And I'll donate another $100 for every order placed during the entire month of December to WITV7. So here's my idea for you. Get a Relax Sauna for yourself this holiday season and give another as a gift. Okay, we're back, and this is the Something Significant show, and I'm Matt Gersper. Hey, friends, do yourself a great big favor. Invest in your family's health and buy a Relax Sauna for your home. It's the only sauna that filters out all of the non-healing light rays, so you can totally absorb the scientifically proven range of healing far infrared rays. I use mine every morning, and I love it. And I love my guest, too, Elijah Sacra. He's a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, a career health and wellness practitioner, trainer, consultant, and educator with over 2 decades of experience guiding his clients to eliminate pain, decrease injuries, and enhance athleticism and overall health and wellness. So Elijah, in my second book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I explore the idea that big transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation. A terrible illness, a sudden death, some big crisis shakes your life and a major transformation follows. However, in the living of my life, I've found that a happier way of discovering my purpose is by using inspiration. So tell us, was there a specific moment or a situation when either devastation or inspiration revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
I would say people come to me today and go, "Oh, what a cool idea! How did you come up with this nonprofit?" And the reality is it was born out of me hurting myself. And the darkest moments of my life. I wouldn't consider myself someone with a lot of anxiety or depression, but I did have chronic pain to the point where it was depressing on a daily basis. And so, as I walked through that is how I had a mentor tell me, the only way you can keep something is to give it away. So as soon as I started feeling even a little bit better, I was like, I've got to share this with my fellow Marine brothers at that time, but it's expanded to the entire veteran community in the military. So absolutely true.
So take us back to that time, because I find as I've studied this a little bit with my happy livingness, there's usually some sort of tipping point when like the pain just grew too much, or you had some kind of a breakthrough that something that wasn't working, you found something that was working. Was there a moment? Was there a period of time that distinguishes when you started to come out of it?
Yes, daily junk food eating combined with my 9th month at Ernst & Young, and my goal was to be a partner someday in that. And I looked over in the corner office. The guy was miserable, overweight, and did not want to be here by the look on his face. And I was like, if that is my future, my life is just going to be horrible. And so it was kind of at that moment where I was like, I'm leaving, I'm resigning from the firm, and I'm exiting stage left, and I'm just going to start helping people with their health. And I started with 2 clients. And so that, I would say, that realization of I didn't like my job, the environment wasn't set up for wellness, the people that had been there longer than me hated it also, and were miserable.
So in that moment, and especially when you quit your job and you launched your own business, that there must have been friends and family around you that thought you're nuts.
For sure.
And how did you work? What gave you the intestinal fortitude to say, yeah, maybe I am, but this is what I'm going to do? Why didn't you talk yourself? So many people talk themselves into staying the safe route.
My body physically rejected sitting at a desk. And so that was I had that with absolute clarity. Like, if I stay here, my physical structure is going to get worse. My father was like, "Oh, I can't believe you left the firm," because it represented like the holy grail of what you would work for. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very good. And once you started down that path, and you tell me about your mentor, the guy that said, as soon as you have it, you have to give it away. Who was that? And how did that resonate with you and change? Because what you did was not just heal yourself, but you've made a life out of helping others heal, which is awesome.
He was a nonprofit attorney who had just been exposed to a lot of service work. And I had, my first clients were very injured people. I don't know how that happened. My first client had MS, Lyme's disease. She was a cancer survivor, had broken her back by being thrown off of a horse, and she had just come out of an abusive relationship. So I was training her and this nonprofit attorney at the same time. And I realized, like, oh, wow, I can help people who are really, really struggling. And this other guy was like, hey, you've got to organize this into something, or you can't even get a donation, or you can't even make forward headway. So that's kind of how that happened.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about 2 major concepts, capacity and purpose. When you combine them, I say the sky's the limit. Whereas, like I like to say, capacity plus purpose equals happy. And that's what I actually call the happy formula. But I believe the real magic of life comes from the 4th element of significance. So Elijah, tell us, how has doing work that creates value to others brought joy and magic into your life? In other words, how does it feel when you help a warrior, a wounded warrior, feel better, move better, and enjoy life more fully by improving their health? How does that light you up?
Everyone wants to feel like they have value and a contribution and a kind of a lot in life or society. And so I'm at first glance, when I'm working with somebody, I'm humbled and realize how much gratitude I should have for not being as injured as they are usually. That's the first piece. The second piece is I'm absolutely honored to even have a fragment of skill to be able to even upgrade somebody's position. So it's just keeping an attitude of gratitude. And then anyone can get caught up in their own life issues with family, money, environment, or some, my car broke down or something like that. But when you're giving it away and you're helping somebody else walk through their problem, or teaching them how to fish, they can become their own guru, so to speak. You don't have enough capacity to start to focus on your own problem. So you have this space where it's not about you. And so if you continue that on a daily basis, it's basically medicine for me. It's better than any antidepressant or anti-anxiety. And, I look at it as personal therapy and just down that tunnel.
Yeah. And so if you try to compare that to doing a really, really great job and getting a bonus at Ernst & Young, probably not going to stand up to that, is it?
No. And I remember saying to somebody, I used to want to be some like high profile Wall Street guy and watch some Wall Street movie, and I visualized myself in a limo with a trench coat on, leaving some building, and or even going to Hollywood to act or something. And I remember having the realization, no one gets to do what I'm doing right now and hear the stories I'm hearing. And I wouldn't give a piece of it. It's a lot of what we do is behind closed doors and people don't want their stories revealed. And so I remember having the realization, like, nobody gets to do what I'm doing right now. And this is like, I would not, even if I won the lottery and had millions of dollars, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it makes it's really making an impact in a person's life. And I haven't had that much chronic pain, but I've had a couple of back surgeries, and mine, they were chronic, but they were temporary. And, so it opened my eyes to people who live with chronic pain. It is just an awful thing.
Sure.
Oh, so you made me think of, before I get to the lightning round, I'll throw this one on you early, because you talked about the importance of gratitude. And this would relate to chronic pain. I was given a quote back a long time ago that changed my life, and it made me focus on gratitude. And the quote is, "Your day belongs to another's dream." And it's what you said, the pain I'm having is nothing compared to the pain my
Correct.
client's having. And they would love to have that little amount of pain. And 100%. The same way, if you were still in chronic pain, you would still, if you could just have no pain, it'd be like, oh, my whole life would just be fine.
Right. 100%.
So very good. All right. Well, let's wrap things up with a lightning round. And I'll get into some other of my favorite quotes, and then ask you to respond by telling us what it means to you. So now we can kind of peer into your brain a little bit and see how you think. First one's from Paulo Coelho. It says, "One day you'll wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things you've always wanted to do. So do it now."
Well, we have a quote in our community called "die living." And that means you don't want to have any regrets, and you want to continuously push the envelope in a balanced manner. And every day's not, there's nothing promised. And so you just live to the fullest every day.
Die living. I like it. There's a book out there, being a financial guy, actually, and coach, called Die Broke. Have you heard of that?
No.
Check that out.
I like the idea of it.
You'll love it. And it's along the lines of die living. Live your life while you're living it. Okay. Good answer. Another one. This is from my past. I don't know who the author is. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
I've heard that. I'm still processing and working with that. And I would say I'm like 70% not caring, but there's a part of me that still cares. But it's something I'm working on, is letting go of ego and not having, in my morning prayer, it's help me to be of maximum service to myself, my family, and my tribe, and not have any unnecessary distractions or things deviate me out of that path. And so that kind of falls into that mindset.
That's awesome. Libby, I'm hearing a dog bark an awful lot. Are you picking it up? Okay, here's another one. It's from my past. I'm not quite sure who the author is. It says, other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Yeah, that's something I've heard and that I'm still working on. Everybody's got ego, and I actively work to push back against that and not get caught up on behaving in a matter where I'm like super worried about whether people accept me or not, and try to do the next right thing. One of my morning prayers is help me to be of maximum service to my family, myself, and my tribe. And anything that's distracting me from that, help me to learn how to let that go. And that could include other people's opinions. That's
a great one. That's really a liberating way to live, when you can finally get there, when other people's
I've had a taste of it.
And most of the time, it's really not about you. Maybe they've had a bad day and they say something, short to you, and say, wait a second, what, and then you start to doubt yourself, and none of it had anything to do with you. I love that quote. Okay, this one's from Lionel Messi, Argentine professional footballer. And he says, I start early and I stay late, day after day, year after year. It took me 17 years and 114 days to become an overnight success.
100% agree. I operate with the mindset of just tenacity. I'll never quit. I'll never be shut down. And I'm willing to defer enjoyment and play the long game on everything I do. And it wasn't always like that. There was a phase of my life in my 20s where I wanted the instant gratification, whether it was clothes or cars or the next shiny thing. But I've even seen that in our nonprofit. I mean, we've really gained some traction here in the last year. And if I look back, we're 11 years old. And the first few years was self-financed off of like out of my own pocket and little minuscule donations. So true story.
Yeah, I've tried to short time it every time I try anything new, and it always takes time to build. I say it takes time to build an entire life, and it just does. Okay, this is from one of my own. The more you say no to what you don't want, the more time, energy, and resources you'll have to dedicate to the things that matter most.
100%. And as I alluded to earlier in that book, if your life was a business, would you invest in it? That's kind of what I've been doing. That quote simplifies it. I'm still learning how to say no, but every day I catch myself like, oh my God, why did I just commit to that? Like, I don't even want to do that anymore. Right. So I'm sure it can be refined over time. But it's something I've cultivated for about 5 years now, the ability to say, hey, and I try to put people down gently, like, hey, I just simply don't have the bandwidth for that. Can you check back with me in another year? And so sometimes it's not an absolute no. It's just like, hey, get back to me in 6 months, maybe when I have more space.
Well, that's a great way too. You put a little hurdle inside that request, and maybe the request wasn't really that important in the first place. Yeah. Okay, this is my all-time favorite. Whatever is from Goff. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
For sure. There's nothing more that I can't stand than procrastination, and even starting something that isn't the perfect template at least has forward momentum. And I'm in a graduate program at UNC right now, and my other teammates are very much let's overanalyze. And I'm like, hey, this thing is due in 2 days. We have to take action. And so I'm very, very much down with that philosophy of just making it happen. There's a book called Atomic Habits that I recently read that really talks about the brain template of cultivating habits and how you get things going. And so that feeds into what you just talked about.
Awesome. All right, Elijah, this has been great, but now our time's nearing the end. So just take a minute or two and share any parting remarks or comments that you'd like to leave with our audience. I
would say what I do with the veteran community is very fulfilling, but I believe it transcends the veteran community, and a lot of humans are struggling right now. So functional medicine isn't veteran specific. Mindfulness and wellness isn't veteran specific. So all of these things we're using in our nonprofit are applicable to any human that's struggling mentally and physically. And it's just about finding the exact template and path that works for you. And so I implore anybody that's listening to this to explore functional medicine, explore mindfulness, and really research modalities that could help maneuver someone into Wellville rather than Hellville, as it's termed sometimes.
Love it. Love it. And now, folks, it's giving time. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Elijah Sacra, please donate what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Elijah, I love how you used your own severe chronic pain from injury sustained while serving in the U.S. Marine Corps to search for answers and ultimately discover functional movement and functional medicine, and use that discovery to heal yourself and then to heal others. And I really love the important niche that you carved out by focusing your healing efforts to help, and I've said it wrong before, World War II veterans, but tell me what it is. Wounded,
ill, and injured veterans and service members. So it's whether you got shot in combat or blown up, or if you have diabetes or cancer, which would be ill, and then injured is, hey, my foot got run over by a truck in the field somewhere. So it's anybody who's struggling in the military and veteran community, and WII is an acronym that the military community uses to describe that, but you wouldn't know it if you looked at it at a short glance.
Very good. Well, that is a great niche and a great service, and I think you're a national treasure. So thank you for being with us.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. Wouldn't be able to do it without going through my own crap and trying to walk through it and give it away to others.
Excellent. And thank you to WYTV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep reaching ordinary people ready to create their own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors for the entire month of December, Relax Sauna and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $100 for every order placed during the entire month of December. So buy a far infrared portable sauna for yourself, and it's holiday time, give another one as a gift. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Elijah Sacra. Find him, friend him, and sign up for a free health consultation with him too. From me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. We do what we do on the Something Significant show to inspire you to live your life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. I encourage you to be bold. If you're dreaming about it, then get on with it, for it's there on your special path, the one to your dream, your unique and distinctive journey. That's where you'll discover the way to make your mark of significance on the world. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant show.
Thank you so much for having me on.